Blog Talk Radio.
Well, here we go, boys and girls across this great country. Move the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame out of the way. Jacobs Field, the Q, whatever you want. We have landed in Cleveland, the American Sports History Podcast, hosted by my good friend Peter Ray. Yours truly, Mark Mancini, producing this. 347-205-9631. Without further ado, let me give him the podium, the mic, the red carpet. Peter, first of all, how are you? Second of all, how can people get a hold of you? Third of all, I think you brought in one heck of a guest today to go along with all the great ones you've had previously.
Oh, hi, Mark. I'm doing well. I have a YouTube channel. It's my name, Peter J. Ray, R-E-A. I also have a website, Adventures in History with Peter J. Ray, and we've done history topics, various areas, including Cleveland baseball, every year going back to 1871. Tonight we are very honored to have the best-selling author of the book, The Road to Success, Volume 2, with Jack Canfield. She's a radio and TV personality, the Director of Health and Wellness Services at the Association of Professional Ballplayers of America. She's a show host and writer at Bear All TV, and Health and Wellness. She's the Health and Wellness radio talk show host at City of Angels Recovery Radio. She's also the CEO and founder of Neos Zone. Well, it's an honor and a privilege to have on the show tonight Maryann Castello. Welcome to the show, Maryann.
Thank you, Peter, for having me on. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Now, I was looking at your website. It's you have this company, Neos Zo, New Life Through Balanced Living, and you're in the health field. Now, this is just amazing. I was looking at some of these things that you folks are working on: Reiki, massage, essential oils, and nutrition. Wow. And it's such an important field because there's so much illness today, and folks go to the doctor. There's so much, I think, room for improvement in medical care. So it's just tremendous that you're in this field and coming up with, not exactly new ideas, but maybe old ideas that have been lost in the dark ages and are coming back. So it's wonderful to have you on the show.
Well, thank you so much. I'm a real advocate in holistic health and wellness as well. I also work with medical doctors because I think now you get the best of both worlds where East meets West, where you can do preventative care and then also have medical care. But unfortunately, the way people come to me is they say, "Oh, I'm coming to you. You're my last step," and it's saying, you should have been the first step, so that way we could teach you about your own body and how you can get healthy and give you the what and the why to every scenario you have about yourself.
Now that you have Reiki here, life force energy balance. Now that appears to be involve the hands and spirituality. So to be effective at Reiki, does one have to have spirit? I would imagine the practitioner has to have developed spiritually.
Yes, I've been very fortunate that I am a Reiki master, which means I can teach Reiki. I took Reiki for 3.5 years, and I had a traditional Chinese medicine woman actually teach me Reiki. And along with being spiritual, finding oneself, finding balance, she also had taught me all about anatomy. That's where I gotten a big start in this field, and how everything is connected emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And what we don't fix in those realms becomes a physical manifestation within our body. So I'll give you a quick example. Somebody comes to you with a sore throat, and they're like, "Oh, my throat is really hurting." And you hear all the symptoms, but then you start asking them a question, well, are you mad at somebody? And they just give you that look and say, well, is your throat more on the right side or is it more on the left side? And they say, why does that matter? And saying, well, the right side is masculine energy, the left side is feminine energy. So depending on what side the throat it could be on, it could be the angry words you're holding in at that particular individual. And then all of a sudden they look at you and they're thinking, wow, is this like witchcraft, voodoo? Why are you saying this? And it's really a scientific evidence on the body. And Reiki works with channeling that energy and blockages. And we have chakras. And chakras, think of them more like spinning wheels, and they should be rotating clockwise. And when something's blocked and a practitioner works on them, hands-on. Some people are on the body. Most Reiki is above the body with their hands. What they're really doing, depending on the hand, is right hand, right palm is positive energy. Left hand, left palm is negative energy. And depending where they're placing that onto your body, it goes into what they call a vibrational energy. And the practitioner will feel that vibration. And you work to, if you feel it going really strong, all of a sudden the person might let out a yawn, like, that like gasp of air. And all of a sudden they let out this loud yawn and going, what is that for? And that is the energy block releasing. And that, if it stays blocked, it can manifest physical things on the body. So that's the idea behind Reiki.
And I imagine massage and Reiki both require spirituality from the therapist.
Absolutely. I specialize in medical massage, so it's a lot of sports massage, and it incorporates trigger point therapy and deep tissue, and also passive stretching. A lot of it. It's a session where the person would be helping you along, and at the same time, you're in that space sometimes 12 hours a day with different people. So you have to be sure that as a practitioner, you're grounding yourself, whether it be eating the correct food through the day or taking, if I call it my time out before the next client, and sitting down almost in a meditative, so this way you can protect yourself, get rid of other people's energy you might have absorbed in somebody's session. So yes, they go very much hand in hand.
Yeah, I went to get a massage some time ago from a guy, and because I'm open to these new things, and the thing is, I realized that talking to the guy and afterward that he was kind of an angry guy. So I thought that probably he might have known a lot, but I thought that's sort of his. If you're an angry practitioner, that's not going to be good for massage.
No, absolutely it won't, because some people, when you're doing medical massage, you're working on the areas that have the most discomfort. And I get people that look at me and say, hey, did you eat Wheaties today, or are you just taking your frustrations down on me? And it's like saying, no, I'm really not doing either or. It's just where your discomfort is. We have to work through that, and we eventually do. But yes, you don't want the practitioners to be angry. And it's just like if you're talking to a hairstylist, a waitress, waiter, whatever, you don't want to make them mad until after your service.
Now, I'm intrigued. I've heard about, you have listed here essential oils as one of your things that you work with in your therapy. And can you talk about that topic?
Absolutely. Essential oils. I know that people think, oh, it's aromatherapy. What is aromatherapy? Well, people think, well, let me just get an aroma of an oil, and that's going to make me feel better. But essential oils have what they call chemical constituents in them, and that's what develops their chemical properties to the healing properties of that oil. So, for instance, the one that I always see, lavender. Lavender is an oil that has a linalool content of over 34%. So what does that mean? In layman terms, it means one drop. You could use it on a cotton ball, attach it to your pajamas. You could put it on a pillow. You could put one drop in a diffuser around your area, and that can help relax you. The problem is people say, oh, this is so relaxing, let me use more. But what happens is, since the linalool content is so high, it becomes a stimulant at that point. And some people are like, well, I used the lavender that you gave me, and somehow I feel like I'm bouncing off the walls. And, of course, they ask, well, did you only use one drop? Well, no, I put one drop here, one drop here, one drop here, one drop here. And I said, well, that's why. But the benefits of lavender, if you use it topically on the skin, it's one of the ones that don't have to be used with a carrier oil. So it can be used what they call neat, applied directly to the skin, and it helps heal things from outside in. It works as a wonderful pain reliever. Because that linalool content is so high, putting one drop maybe even on the temples, you can help relieve a headache, things of that nature. So there's a lot of healing properties, not just about the emotional, mental, spiritual side, but things that people can use that are non-invasive and to be able to help heal themselves with essential oil.
We have a couple listeners, 302 area code and 732 area code, so thanks so much for listening to the show. Now, this is all wonderful information. Would you like to talk about nutrition?
Absolutely, nutrition. Well, everybody thinks that, okay, you have to have, when they hear nutrition, what's the first thing? Oh, it's weight loss. That's what I come to find out when people come to me. And really what it is, nutrition is about making sure that you heal your body using food. It's like Hippocrates, heal thy food is thy medicine. And to look at what you're eating, because what you do put in is how your body is going to perform. So if you're eating a good food or balanced food, you're going to feel energetic. You're not going to feel lethargic. You're going to be able to build your immune system. So this way, especially now in these days, you want that immune system ability. And you want to make sure you have the right vitamins for you. Everybody is different. So that's why, we test for vitamins and to see what's good for you, or if you need to add something in. Or I'm here in the Northeast in New Jersey, there's change of seasons. Sometimes if you're in the wintertime, you can't get that vitamin D from the sun. So sometimes you have to supplement that for a couple of months to be at optimal levels to help keep your body healthy. Nutrition is more than just food, but it's a lifestyle change that people have to do. And you always have to remember you are what you eat, definitely.
So for different people, should they eat different foods?
Absolutely. So some people can eat just about anything, and you see them fine. You have some people with all the food allergies nowadays, whether it be additives to the foods, whether it be gluten, whether it be wheat. You have to eat what's right for you. And one hint is keeping a food journal, because if you keep a food journal, you eat something, and 20 minutes later, write down how it also made you feel. Because if you start getting a headache or if you start feeling lethargic, things of those natures, might not be that you have an allergy to the food, but it could mean that you have a food intolerance, that your body's not processing it. And one good thing to remember, what you crave, you cannot digest. What does that mean? It means that if you crave a certain food and you ingest it, and a couple hours later it feels like you didn't eat it, it's because the brain did not register that you had it. It's not satisfied. It's going to keep wanting more and more of that same type of food. So that way you have to look at, do I have a digestive issue? Does my body have a hard time breaking down essential fats? Does it have a hard time breaking down proteins or carbs? And you can work with your body, and your body will whisper before it cries. So just dealing with food intolerances and to know what makes you feel good, we all know. You have a guilty pleasure. Say it's ice cream. And then you eat ice cream and you're like, oh, I'm so uncomfortable, or I'm so bloated after it. That gives you a hint. That's your body whispering, saying that dairy might not be working for you. Or maybe it's a preservative in that particular brand. Things like that. And you have to focus on that. And when you do, you start being responsible, really responsible for what goes in. And you realize that you want to feel good, because it's really true that, if you don't have your health, you don't have anything. That's really true.
So when you meet with people, you get information from them, and that helps you to let them know what they should be eating?
Correct. I do services in office, and I also do them online. I have a very extensive questionnaire that I go through with people to get to the underlying issues of what may be going on with their health. And there is also in person, they call it applied kinesiology, AK for short, or muscle testing. And I also do palpatory diagnostic response, which you test about 35 different testing points on the body within the muscles. And each of those testing points rely on acupuncture points and acupressure meridians that we use. And it can tell you if an organ is unbalanced or if it's under some duress. And there's different ways to approach that, whether it's just eating the correct foods. It could be adding a digestive enzyme or a food supplement or a vitamin. It really depends, individualized protocols, because we all are individualized. We're not just one person. So all of us have different digestive systems. And remember, keep your gut clean and healthy, because illnesses and all really start from the gut. You have to make sure that's good.
How would you help someone improve their posture if they have poor posture?
Well, one, we'd have to figure out why they have poor posture. But stretching is such a valuable tool we have in our toolbox every day. So it's a matter of somebody might get up, you see them hunching over. One thing that they can do is literally touch their toes and bend down to their toes. And you just hang there. You don't bounce, because then you start shortening and lengthening certain muscles. In this case, it's the quadratus lumborum. You might have heard of it as the QL muscle. And it's in your lower back, just sitting in your lower back where everybody goes, oh, my back's killing me. That part right there, just above your hips. And if you stretch that out, that stretches your whole back. In some instances, that will help relax your neck muscles and all, and be able to help you stand straight up. Also, there's the psoas muscle in the front that's just above the thigh, and just in your lower abdominal area. Those muscles sometimes get shortened. We always say, oh, I have a tight muscle. There's really no such thing. It's because the muscle shortens. And what massage does, massage therapy, is so valuable, and stretching, because it lengthens the muscle back to its original state. And that's why sometimes when you get a massage, people get off the table and say, God, I feel like I'm taller, and they're wondering why. Okay, you might be a couple centimeters taller, but you're not a couple of feet, despite what they say.
So stretching is good for the posture. Is that what you said? Or bending over, touch your toes?
Yes, stretching is definitely good, because when you have your lower back lengthened, it helps your upper back. So remember, a lot of times, if you have discomfort from your waist up, the source of the problem is usually from the waist down. And if you have a problem from the waist down in discomfort, we usually find the source from the waist up. So it's so important to be able to stretch your entire body. And it's the best thing to do several times a day. People are at desks, especially now, working from home, sitting over computer screens, or maybe they're at their kitchen table doing it or something. And you have to be sure to get up and stretch. It doesn't take much. I mean, you could stretch your arms by finding a door frame and putting your arm onto the door frame and leaning your elbow and forearm up to the frame and taking the same leg with the same arm that's on the door and lunging forward. And you should feel that stretch in between your collarbone and your shoulder. Okay, and when you feel that, you're stretching out your entire chest, and that will also help improve posture. It really does wonders, stretching.
I get the impression that part of your work involves counseling, where you're talking about their lives, and and their past, and what's going on in their lives. Yes,
I do ministerial counseling, but in a nutrition session and even massage, my goal is to help people to find out why they got to where they are physically. And some of it, yes, can be genetic, but listening to what they're not saying sometimes is what I clue into. I'm hearing everything they're saying, but usually they'll tell you everything they want you to know, or they don't realize what the block is. So I work with people to work with them to find out, what are their health goals, hearing about that. And just like I used the example about the throat, there's clues on the body to me that you're looking at, whether it be from things on your skin to, to lines on the face that can give away what's going on emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And when you can help somebody, help them through a problem, and you empower them, and the key word is empowering people, when you empower them, they actually look over their lives. They have hope. They have faith. And if they pray, prayer is a really good form of helping, and through meditations and giving yourself hope, because without that, what do we really have? And everybody has the capability of healing, but they have to want to heal. Some people live with disease because they've lived with it so long, they've identified with it. It's become their identity because they've been dealing with it for so long. So to work with people through that and to show them that there's steps to work out of this, that you don't have to live in this discomfort every single day, that you'll be able to, have faith, have hope. You can get over this hurdle, this obstacle, and then get yourself healthy. And there's people there that will help you do it. You're not always by yourself.
We have 3 area codes listening, 617-305 and 424. Many thanks to our dear listeners. Now, Maryann, you mentioned how empowerment. How do you empower people?
Well, with prayer, you can do Psalms. You have that with for people that believe in prayer. There's people that empower themselves as in maybe they're afraid to speak up for something going on in their life. So you help them find out what their goal is and how to empower them. They could be at an employment that they may have been at for years saying, well, I'm just living paycheck to paycheck, but I hate going to work every single morning. Well, if you hate doing what you do every day and you suppress that every day, it's going to take a toll on your health. So to empower somebody might be able to tell them, listen, you can stay in this place of employment for now, but is it worth your health? While you're there, maybe let's help you work on a resume. Maybe they have a fear of a resume. Maybe they have a fear of going to search for a job. And you can give them ideas of how to work it, or if they have to do an interview, and how to do it while you're still in employment, and how to leave the employer respectfully with the 2 weeks notice and things like that. And this way, they don't feel bad about leaving a job, but yet they open themselves up to a great new beginning. But sometimes people need step-by-step because they got so lost in what it was they were dealing with, they've lost all reality of what it could be. And once you realize that there's certain, steps that you can take and then keep following that leads in from one aspect of your life to the next aspect, whether it's relational, whether it's financial, all these things. And then you realize at each step you take, you're growing. And as you grow, you become more empowered, and you learn to believe in yourself. And that's what my book is about, On Road to Success. You have to believe in yourself. Be you. Believe in yourself. And if you do that, you realize that it's not a competition against every single person you come in contact with. There's a place for everybody in this world to do what you're doing. It doesn't matter what field you're working in. You work to the best of what you can do. It doesn't mean you're bad at what you do. It doesn't mean you're great at what you do. It's how you perceive yourself. People can learn skills all the time. They can gain all the knowledge, especially with today's technology, to learn and be confident. But you have to believe in yourself, and you have to love yourself. Because before you could truly love other people, you have to love yourself, because if you do, that beauty is going to show inside and out.
Do you want to talk about the power of listening?
Yes, that's a very good one, Peter. Thank you for bringing that up. It's called active listening. How many people truly actively listen? Now, what I've seen currently, hardly anybody. How many times do you talk to somebody and you see them looking down at their phones, or they're texting while they're talking to you, or they're looking up at a computer screen while they're trying to have a conversation? And after you said something that could have been so profound for them, they go, I'm sorry, what? What did you say? How many times do we do this? Well, if you don't actively listen to other people, how can you expect somebody to actively listen to you? And what I practice is that if I am actively listening, I put my phone down. I do everything to focus on that person. They have my undivided attention so I can help them. Am I guilty of it from time to time? Yes. But most of the time, if I need to have family time, I will actually turn my phone off during dinner time, because I feel like people use that for conversation. How was your day? And gives you a chance to connect with everybody. Then I could always go and turn it back on. If you're a parent with a child, the worst thing you could do is talk to your child while you're texting somebody and then telling them it's so rude for them to use their phone at a table while they're with you. If they learn by example. And active listening, I think, connects people. And I think because of all the modern-day technology, it's an art that's been lost. It's communication with one another, one-on-one, that I feel has just been lost. And I find it disturbing sometimes. I mean, you could be walking down the street and you see somebody and you smile at them and you say hello, they're lucky they look at you while they're looking down at their phone every single time. And I live in the Northeast area, New Jersey, New York. Let me tell you, everybody's in their own world around here, So I think the art of face-to-face communication and friendships has really gotten lost. And something I'd love to see come back fully, and people to connect with each other, because that form of connection is so important to your well-being for everyone.
So there's healing power if we listen to others?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, granted, how many men will, I'll say women, wives will say their husbands have selective hearing? Because it's like, oh, well, did you hear me? Yeah, I heard you, but they're not really listening. And I think it's funny, but there is the power of healing, because whether you're teaching somebody or being present in the moment, somebody, a friend, a relative, a family member can come to you with a problem. You might not have the answer for them, but the fact that you sat there and actively listened, have compassion, empathize with them, see if you can help them. But the fact that they were able to get that off their chest and vent to you and know that you appreciated it, that can be such a healing gift to the other person besides yourself, knowing you helped somebody.
I would imagine in your work that you're continuing to learn a lot about healing.
I do learn a lot about healing, not only hands-on, but I continue to take continuing education classes and all to stay on the frontier of holistic healing. And things change every day, even in pharmaceuticals, because if people come to me and they're on pharmaceutical medication and we see a deficiency in something, we have to make sure there's no contraindication between what we're going to try to recommend along with medications they may be taking. So you definitely have to stay on the forefront of all modalities and what's going on. Plus, there's even people, I love WebMD, Peter, absolutely love it. People come in with self-diagnosis every single day off of WebMD saying, I think I have this, or I think I have this. And it's something to say, well, I'm going to explain why you may have it, and this is why you may not. Let's, sit down, let's test you, let's talk to you, and we'll figure out what's going on. But I think people also get the fear of death into them, diagnosing themselves over the Internet.
Well, this is just an incredible topic, and certainly, like I said, I feel like there's so much money spent on medical care, and there's so much illness, and I feel like we've been living in the dark ages. When George Washington died, he supposedly got the best medical care at the time, and he, after a couple of days, he told them to stop their barbarisms and let him die in peace. And and I wonder about the future, what they'll say about what the medical care that's going on. But I think what you're doing, people like you, is the future of wonderful medicine. That really we can live in a world where there aren't many sick people, or when sick people get well instead of being sick forever.
Absolutely, and I will give the example again I give all the time. Your body might have a temporary setback. I'll use the case of high blood pressure, and because it's the most common one they see. And a lot of times people come to my office and say, my medical doctor said I'll be on this blood pressure for life. And I'd rather get to the source of the problem. Why did that happen? Is it from your circulatory system? Was it is it something with your kidneys that might be off? Maybe those have to be balanced. Why are you experiencing high blood pressure? Is it genetic? Sometimes it is. But to find out what it is, or can we give you the proper diet to help you with that issue, you might have to take medication temporarily. But I'm a strong belief, and I've seen it time and time again, and I'm so grateful that I've seen it. The body is such a wonderful human specimen of healing. The healing powers, along with faith, and having all of that faith and believing that your body can heal. Because remember, what you say, your body believes every word that you say. So talk about it with love. I know people get this blood pressure issue and they're like, oh, my God, I don't know what I'm going to do, and this is crazy. I don't know. I'm so young. This happens. But if you can talk to them and find out, is it an environmental factor? Is it genetic? Is it diet? Is it something out of balance within one of your body systems? And then work with it to correct that. So then this way your body can be capable of healing, and then eventually your doctor would be able to work with you to wean you off of these medications. I've seen it time and time again with autoimmune diseases, with lupus, RA, which is rheumatoid arthritis. I've seen it with type 2 diabetes. I've seen it with certain cancers and all.
Our guest has been Maryann Castello, who's a wonderful health and wellness person. And we are out of time. Maryann, do you have any final words for our listeners?
Yes, I want to just say that everybody has the capability of putting their own health in their hands and being able to prevent things from happening to themselves. And if they want to reach out to me at any time, they are more than welcome. I'd be welcome to help anybody through their challenges.
Well, I think you'll be hearing from me. Thanks so much again, Maryann Castello.
Thank you, Peter, for having me. I'm so honored.
All right. Well, it was my honor. Next week on the show, we're going to have Tamara Boyven, who is a boot camp fitness lady from Calgary, Canada. Dear listener, may the road rise to meet you. May the wind be at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face and rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. Good night, everybody. Thanks again, Maryann.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.